What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show. We discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, thanks for hitting the like button for us down below. We got a lot to talk about here today. Remember that in my earlier video yesterday or earlier today, we talked about how, as you can see here from the Wall Street Journal, most medical debts to be removed from consumer credit reports here starting here in a few months. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, the three major credit bureaus, are making sweeping changes to how they report medical debts in collections beginning this summer. Tens of millions of Americans have medical debt, and the majority of that will no longer be reported to credit bureaus, will no longer be on your credit reports. So this is a major, major thing. So let me know first of all, let me know your thoughts on this, because this is going to be, this is honestly probably going to raise the credit scores of millions of Americans, millions of Americans. So, first of all, that's a really good thing because, well, if your credit score gets raised, you can get loans easier and for cheaper, just to start. But second of all, Senator Bernie Sanders has called for the cancellation of all medical debt. This is similar to how they're canceling, at least partially, some student loan debt. Okay. Remember that they're currently calling for the president to cancel $10,000 to $50,000 of student loan debt. Now, the president hasn't done that yet, but he did cancel last year $11.5 billion in student loan forgiveness, or student loan debt was canceled last year on the federal level for thousands and thousands of adults last year. So $11.5 billion last year in 2021. And this is mostly for adults who had their college close on them, defraud them, adults with disabilities, or in the public service forgiveness program. Okay. But it's also happening here in 2022 as well. One of the major ones that happened this year was from Navient. Navient, which is a student loan servicing company, announced a deal that they canceled $1.7 billion in private student loan debt this year. You can see here the decision was part of a deal the student loan company reached with 39 states, that they actually canceled $1.7 billion in private student loan debt this year. So there's been a host of billions of dollars of student loan debt already canceled here last year and this year, and there's been others as well. And now Senator Bernie Sanders and other Democrats are looking to have medical debt canceled as well. So this could be the next wave we could see for medical debt cancellation. There's over 40 million Americans with student loan debt. And apparently, according to Forbes, up to 50% of Americans now carry medical debt. That's astounding, but you can see it right here from Forbes. So that's a lot of people. Now, whether it's, I mean, when you go to college, you get many, many, many thousands. You get potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars of a student loan debt. Now, when it comes to medical debt, you could have as little as a couple $100 or low couple $1,000 of medical debt. You could have $500 of medical debt. You could have 1,000. You could have a couple thousand, or you could have tens of thousands. It really just depends on the type of procedure, whether you had it from a pregnancy, whether you had an operation. But you can see the headline right here from Forbes, a pretty credible source. They're not Democrat, they're not Republican, they're pretty independent. They said that 50% of Americans now carry medical debt, a chronic condition for for millions of Americans. Pretty ironic play on words there, but yeah, that's it's pretty concerning. And now Bernie Sanders and other Democrats are calling for cancellation of all medical debt. And remember, they've already canceled billions of dollars of student loan debt. And well, if you've been watching my show, I kind of foresee this coming, or I kind of foresaw this coming. Remember, I said that after they started to do student loan cancellation, I said I thought that they would do a movement for other types of debt cancellation, like medical debt cancellation. And they could do, because remember, about 1 in 6 Americans, about 40 some million Americans, have student loan debt cancellation. But I think that I would foresee a other for the other 5 out of 6 Americans, the other, there's about 330 million Americans in the country, you know, literally changes by the day, right? Um, but what about the other 5 out of 6 million Americans? There's a lot of them, right? I could see other types of debt cancellation for everybody else. There's medical debt cancellation. There's tax debt cancellation. There's mortgage debt cancellation. And there's credit card debt cancellation. There's a lot of other type of debt cancellation that the government can do, and a lot of it they can do pretty easily, pretty easily. A lot of it they can do simply because it's right on the government books, especially when it comes to like tax debt cancellation, um, mortgage debt cancellation, tax lien debt cancellation, IRS cancellation. A lot of that is debt just owned by the government. Okay, because if it's owned by the government, they can literally just wipe it away like they've done with a lot of the student loan debt cancellation. Because if it's owned by the government, they own it. They literally just sign it away and it's just kind of wiped off the books, because if they own the debt, they just forgive it. It's owned by them. So they just say, okay, they just kind of write it off the books. It's owned by them. So they just say, all right, well, we just forgive the debt. When it comes to other things like maybe medical debt or like credit card debt, other stuff like that, they'd have to pay off somebody. So they can do that. It maybe adds to the national debt or something like that, or they can do it through a stimulus package or something like that. But it can be done, and it has been done in the past. And this is exactly what people like Senator Bernie Sanders are calling for now as a new stimulus type of measure. And remember, 50% of adults now have medical debt. You can see here Senator Bernie Sanders called for medical debt to be abolished on Monday in response to the news that the country's 3 largest credit agencies will be removing paid off medical debt from credit reports. Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion announced last week that credit reports will no longer include medical debt that went to collections after it's been paid off. This accounts for almost 70% of medical debt on credit reports and will eliminate billions of dollars in recorded debts. The agencies are also extending the grace period before medical debt appears on credit reports from 6 months to 1 year. Sanders praised the move, but said it doesn't go far enough. Medical debt and medical bankruptcy are 2 phrases that should not exist in the United States of America. Sanders wrote on Twitter. Removing 70% of past due medical debt from credit report is a step in the right direction, he said. Much more needs to be done. We must cancel all medical debt. And you can let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Earlier this week, Sanders said that he's planning to reintroduce legislation to establish Medicare for all, as millions of people are set to lose Medicaid coverage under a privatization scheme that the Biden administration is implementing. Medicare for all would eliminate most medical payments, greatly reducing, if not eliminating, widespread medical debt issues. Medical bankruptcy is a uniquely American problem. In other wealthy countries, first world countries, all of them with universal health care, medical bankruptcy virtually doesn't exist. Imagine that. And yet, tens of millions of people in the US struggle with medical debt. About half of the country's adults carry medical debt. So that basically backs up the data from Forbes. So estimates in this vary, and some research has found that only 10% of adults owe medical debt, which is completely contrasting. Adults are putting off needed medical care or skipping prescriptions because of the costs associated. And this is another major problem, including people with insurance coverage who cannot afford the copays or co-insurance. Though it comes at the expense of people's health, such behavior is understandable given that millions of people in the US are pushed into poverty by these out of pocket medical expenses. In the last presidential run, Bernie Sanders campaigned on eliminating medical debt and placing strict guidelines on how medical debt could be enforced. 500,000 Americans will go bankrupt this year from medical bills. Wow. They didn't go to Las Vegas and blow their money on a casino. Their crime was that they got sick, he said in 2019. Wow. How barbaric of a system is that? He says, I'm going to destroy your family's finances because you had cancer. Wow. At the time, it was estimated that Americans hold about $81 billion in medical debt, according to a 2016 study. And it finds that Americans actually owe about $140 billion in medical debt, which has become the largest source of debt in collections from the country in recent years. The study did not even include data from the pandemic, which may have caused the figure to balloon even more, but it for sure has. This also goes in conjunction with Democrats are pressing President Biden to extend the freeze on a student loan payment pause. The student loan payments have been paused for over 2 years now, going all the way back to 2020 when former President Donald Trump paused them at the beginning of the pandemic. And over 40 million people have not had to pay on their student loans because of the pandemic and how tough times have been. And the problem here is that when surveys go out, like 90 some percent of people on that have student loans say that they cannot pay them right now because times are just tough right now. So the problem here is that and now interest rates are going up here. So anybody that has a variable interest rate on their student loans, the payments are going to go up on those as well if they don't have a fixed interest rate on them. So that is going to be another issue here as well. Now, President Biden has said in the past that he is willing to cancel up to $10,000 of student loans for everybody. He has not done so yet, though, as well. He has canceled, as I showed you on the screen, those articles. He has canceled billions of dollars of student loans last year and this year, but not for everybody, only for certain people. And There's probably going to be more here this year as well. I will keep you up to date here on that. Democrats are calling for him to cancel student loans for everybody between $10,000 and $50,000 for everybody. I think if and or when that happens, I think we will then see a push for other types of debt cancellation for everybody as well. Medical debt cancellations, other types of debt cancellations as well, like IRS tax lien cancellation, credit card debt cancellation, mortgage debt cancellation, literally any type of debt cancellation we could see in the future. Um, Remember, in the past, student loan debt cancellation used to be a fairy tale. People thought it would never happen. And now, literally every year, billions and billions of dollars of student loans get canceled. And people are just waiting for the big one, the big enchilada, so to speak, when the president says we're going to cancel $10,000 to $50,000 for everybody. That could potentially be not just billions, but maybe even over $1 trillion for everybody. And when that happens, that kind of opens the magic door for other types of debt cancellation for everybody as well. Remember that student loan debt cancellation used to be non-existent. People thought that that would never happen. It was a fairy tale. People also used to think that stimulus checks were a fairy tale. Like what, the government's just going to send you money just because you exist? Like people would actually send you checks just because you have a child? Like child tax credits. Child, like what? The government's just going to send you monthly checks just because you have a child? The government's just going to send you a stimulus check because the economy's bad? Yeah, like all these things actually happen. So I know a lot of this stuff sounds kind of crazy in theory, but all these things actually happen. A student loan debt cancellation has actually happened. Medical debt cancellation could actually happen. Other types of debt cancellation could actually happen. Stimulus checks actually happen. We've already had three of them happen here since the start of the pandemic. We've had um, student loan forgiveness happen. We've had rent assistance happen. We've had thousands of people that watch this show get their rent paid for 12 months or more, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. We've had thousands of people here get rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance. Um, and now we have states doing stimulus checks. We've had states pausing their gas taxes, which is another way to provide stimulus to their residents, basically put more money in your pockets in various different ways. We have proposals here from the federal government to potentially do monthly checks because of how high gas prices are and inflation and the price of everything, food, inflation, everything. So if you kind of really think about, if we went back 10 years or so, and if I would have mentioned all these things to you, you might have thought I was crazy. But the government's going to send us checks just because gas is high and inflation is high, and the government's going to send you checks just because you have children and because there's a pandemic. You might have thought I was crazy, but now that it's 2022 and last year was 2021 and 2020, this all that stuff actually happened. If you didn't receive stimulus checks and if you didn't realize that child tax credits were a thing and rent assistance was a thing and mortgage assistance was a thing and SNAP assistance was a thing and pandemic EBT was a thing, you might have thought I was crazy. But all these things actually happen. People get SNAP assistance every month, food assistance every month. All these things are for real. So stimulus check 1 was real. Stimulus check 2 was real. Stimulus check 3 was real. People get their student loans canceled. So I know, believe it or not, these things actually happen. Billions and billions of dollars of these checks go out all the time. So I'll keep you up to date here with all these things here. And I'll link you to some videos on how you can get your rent paid for rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance, because there's still programs where you can get your rent paid for up to 12 months. Most states still have that available, and I have videos showing you how to do that. It's completely free to apply, completely free to watch those videos as well. Just takes you a little bit of time to watch the video and to go and apply if your state still has that money available. So make sure to click the subscribe button down below if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet. As I said, it's completely free to do so. Remember that new videos come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date here with everything you need to know about on a daily basis. You can click this top video here to watch my newest video next. This bottom video here is how to get utility assistance up to $1,000 to pay your utilities. This top video here is how to get your rent paid with rent assistance from the last stimulus package. And this bottom video here is how to get homeowners assistance for homeowners up to $80,000. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.